Welcome to Roland Garros Live with the team from Diary of a Professional Tennis Coach. For 15 days, we'll have all the latest from Paris. Come and slide in to play with us on the Terre Battue. Well, hello and welcome to Diary of a Professional Tennis Coach, Roland Garros Live, day 4 of action. And I'm delighted to say we've got an all-female lineup on duty today. Emily Appleton joins us, having just made her Roland Garros debut. Hello, Emily.
Hi, Candy. Great to be here.
Lovely to have you. And Christina McHale, my US friend. We worked together on the US Open. She retired from tennis, Christina, and now you are back to the professional game. We will talk about that because that's an interesting thing you've done. And we're so happy you've joined the podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's so good to see both of you.
So let's talk about Roland Garros. Hopefully everyone is tuning in live now on our Roland Garros live podcast. We'll be speaking for about an hour or so about the day's results. We'll be looking forward to tomorrow's results. There have been some upsets on the men's side in particular. Pretty much business as usual on the WTA side so far, but we'll definitely get into that. Emily, first though, your debut at Roland Garros. You've just played in the doubles there. Tell us all about it. How did it go? What was it like to walk onto the clay courts in Paris?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was an incredible experience because I was second alternate when the first list came out. So I didn't know if I was going to play. And actually, I didn't have positive hopes going into it because I was first alternate for Australian Open, went all the way there and didn't get in, which is very, very uncommon. So as soon as the list came out, I was like, oh no, it's going to happen again. But I was proved wrong this time. And so made my way to Paris and just absolutely loved the experience. I played there as a junior back in 2017. So it was nice to go back finally and be on those amazing clay courts.
How was the player area? What did you eat? Did you enjoy the camaraderie? Is it scary to play for the first time?
Honestly, I thought I was going to be more nervous than I was. And I actually just stepped on the court and I hardly felt any nerves. And I was just enjoying every moment of it. Which was exactly what I wanted it to be like. And I was looking around as I was playing and just felt really grateful and proud of myself to be there because I've put in a lot of hard work over this last year to kind of get to where I am now. So, yeah, was really happy to have fulfilled that sort of mini dream and goal of mine. But yeah, obviously the player area, super exciting, lots going on. It always is at the start of a Grand Slam. It's always a bit chaotic, a bit busy with the men and women and all the teams that the players have. But it was fun and nice to see some friendly faces as well. And obviously the food is always good for the players in the player area.
Yeah, you're treated very nicely indeed. And you played amongst Renata Zarazua. You played Alexandra Ayala, the Filipino who's beaten Iga Swiatek in singles this year. She's causing quite a stir. So I'd imagine there were quite a few fans there, both for you and for them.
Yes, there were quite a few Ayala fans, that's for sure. Not as many for us, but it was a great experience. And just a privilege to play on those courts. And it just made it really special to have some friends and family there supporting us. And hope to be back in years to come.
We will speak more about your Roland Garros experience soon. Let's move on to you, Christina. I know you're back to professional tennis. I'm sure you're hoping to get back to Roland Garros. Perhaps you could tell us about that. You have reached the third round of every single major in singles. You did it twice at your home US Open. I know you live in New York. What is it like playing at Roland Garros for the first time? Can you recount the first moment you walked onto the clay court and also talk about getting to the third round?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not at Roland Garros right now. I'm in Orlando, which couldn't be more different than Paris right now. But yeah, I always say with the French Open, I had such a love-hate relationship with the tournament. At times I was like, I want the tournament to love me so bad, but I had such heartbreaking losses there some years. But then some good moments as well, like making the third round back in 2012. So, but it's just I love the city of Paris. Like, it just feels so special when you're there. And I feel like there's always a good atmosphere because like a couple years I played Kiki Burton's one year there, and I wasn't expecting like all these Dutch fans to show up, and it like took me by surprise. Or I played Sarah Rani one year, and a group of Italians came. So I feel like there's always just a really good energy and vibe, especially on the outside courts.
We as Brits and Americans don't grow up on the red clay, far from it. How did your game adapt? Why did you get better? And do you love clay now?
I think my game, there's certain parts of my game that are well suited for the clay, in the sense that like I like to use a heavy forehand, and I like to use spin and kind of give myself a little bit of time, and use all of the court and things like that. But the movement part for me was where it got exposed that I didn't grow up on a clay court. And I always felt like, funnily enough, I'm like, right when my Roland Garros finished, I'm like, this is now when I feel like I'm moving my best, like right when the tournament would end. And I was like, now I'm ready to go, but we're onto the grass. So
And you got 12 months to wait till you do it
yeah,
again.
exactly. But for me, like, it was always helpful to get there early, and start the European swing and get all those matches in Madrid, Rome, even the week before. I would often play Strasbourg,
Yeah.
the week right before French. And like for me, it was a matter of really just trying to get my footing as much as I could.
And literally getting your footing. And talking about getting your footing in doubles, Emily, I don't play nearly as well as you do, but closing the net is much harder on a grass court or a hard court, isn't it, than clay? You have to be very careful about getting too close, because if the lob comes up, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, I think that's the big difference in doubles on clay, is that you have so much more time. So it's actually quite difficult you can't plan as much, because you have to be, and your opponents have more time to change their shot, see where you're going. So you kind of have to just stay put a little bit more. But I actually really like doubles on clay, because from the back I have a bit more time, so I can kind of set up the point a little bit more. And I think it favors me.
And Christina, your doubles prowess, how did you do at Roland Garros?
I want to say I made the third round one year
Okay.
of Roland Garros doubles. Yeah, but I would say similar things. It's like it's so much of the footing, like poaching, is you have to be a little bit more like just really commit to it and things like that. Because if
Yeah.
you feel like you hesitate on the clay, kind of you can get stuck in like no man's land.
Mm-hmm.
Right, let's talk about some of the WTA results today. The big one that we've been speaking about on the podcast was Iga Swiatek against Emma Raducanu. Now, Emma is one of those players who did not grow up in clay. We know that Iga Swiatek is the queen of clay, even though hasn't won, I should say, a title in 2025. Didn't win Rome, didn't win Madrid like she has done in the past. And there have been some questions, haven't there, over her form. She's now the world number 5. But Christina, she got the better of Raducanu for the 5th straight time today, lost just 3 games, lost only 1 at the Australian Open. So Raducanu did a little bit better. I don't know if you had any thoughts on whether that would be more of a contest this time, or you were putting your money on Iga.
I was putting my money on Iga if I had to pick someone, but I do think that it was a good test for Iga to get through this as handedly as she did, and just kind of maybe steady herself as she gets into this tournament. And I think even though she's coming in, like you said, she didn't win Rome or Madrid as she's used to. I feel like I saw a stat that like she's 20 something on a 20 something match win streak at Roland
Yes.
Garros, which is absolutely incredible. So I feel like as much as she might not be coming in with the form that she would want, you can never count her out at this tournament, because she knows how to win at this event. She knows what it takes. And so the deeper she gets into the event, I feel like the more of a contender she'll become again.
Yeah, do you agree with that, Emily? You know how Emma plays a little bit, would be much more akin to the hard courts. Of course, we've seen her win a major, haven't we, on the hard courts of the US Open. But it's going to take a while probably till she really is efficient on clay.
I would agree with Christina. I think the more Iga plays, the more dangerous she gets. And despite a potential lack of form or slight lack of form this year, you can't count her out for Roland Garros. She's been there, done that, got the T-shirt a couple of times. So she certainly knows how to win some matches at in Paris, and so I think she's dangerous, whatever the match and situation and her history of the recent matches. But I think Emma's been doing really well on the clay and building some good momentum in Rome, and I think that can only help, how her progress is over the next few years, and all just good experience in the bank for her.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just too tough, I think, today. And Iga is looking like the champion she is. This is a quote from Iga after the match. She said, "I love playing here. This place inspires me, makes me work harder. I'm just ready to fight for it and compete." And that sounds good, doesn't it? Because we haven't always seen Iga at her best. She looks a little panicked, a little despondent. But you're right, Christina, her winning run at Roland Garros now, 23 matches. She's going to face Jacqueline Christian next from Romania. Christian beating Sara Bejlek, the woman from Czechia, who I'm a big fan of. Bejlek is this sort of little pocket rocket, hits the ball so hard. She's had some bad injuries, but she's getting back to her best. So that's a good one. Just other results for US players. Christina, not so good because Danielle Collins has gone down in 3 to Olga Danilovic. We had Serbian journalist Vuk Brajovic on yesterday. He, of course, was talking mostly about Novak, but he also said, watch out on the women's side because Olga Danilovic is something quite special. I don't know if you know much about Olga.
I've practiced with her before, but never played her. But she is really tricky. She has big strokes, big lefty serve, and she also uses like all parts of the court as well. So, and she, I think, has trained in Spain the last couple of years. So, like, she is really accustomed to playing on the clay. So that I expected a tough match between Danielle and Olga, and it's not like a total shock to me that Olga got through that one.
The US women, we spoke about this a little bit. Michael Joyce coaching Kruger. Ashlyn Kruger was on yesterday as well. And we were just talking about how many brilliant US players there are, both on the men's and women's side. It's just a sort of a barrage. And I ran an academy in Atlanta, USA about 7 years ago, 7 years. And you could just see it was kind of a numbers game, how many fantastic players were coming through. Have you felt that for a while?
It's kind of funny because when I first started on tour, the question was very much like, who's gonna, like take over American tennis when Venus and Serena are gone? Who's gonna be the next? And it was like a constant question that I would get asked when I first started, and I was like 18, 19 coming up. And then now it's just like been an explosion of like, there are so many American players and so many contenders, and like everyone is pushing each other to get to the next level. Like, it's really cool to see.
And Emily, on the British side, obviously Emma Raducanu and Katie Bolter, but also Sonné Cartal. She has won her first ever Roland Garros match. I don't know how much you know Sonné, but to me, she is just coming into her own. She just is not emotional out on court at all. She just gets down to business. She is a seriously good player.
Sonné's flying. I mean, she is the most chilled out person I know. She's always smiling and super relaxed in the locker room, always so friendly, and just never seems to get nervous. I want to try and emulate a bit of what she does on court.
Is she acting, or is that just her?
I think it's just her, I think her relationship with her coach, Ben, they're so close, and it seems to me from the outside that they're just really good friends. And I think that makes the world of difference, and they have a great bond. And yeah, she's chilled. She's flying. She's going to do really well, I think.
She's like Emma Navarro, who says, I'm just chill. Navarro, of course, losing first round love and one. Christine, I'd love to know your thoughts on that, because Navarro, to me, has not looked her confident self as she did last year. I think the forehand is a little bit of a weakness. Your thoughts?
That was probably the biggest shock for me of the event so far, was just the fact that it was 0-1. And like Emma, she's always competitive in matches, even if she ends up losing. And so when I didn't actually see that match, I think I was sleeping still here in Florida. But like when I saw that result, I was really surprised by that. And yeah, it's one of those matches where I think she's just going to need to like put it behind her. Like, she does that really well, and just sort of get ready for the grass where she plays really well.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a really strange one. Other results today, we've seen Ludmila Samsonova, a Strasbourg finalist this year. She beat her Spanish opponent, so going strong. Former champion Elena Ostapenko's through. Aryna Sabalenka, the top seed, ladies, had absolutely no problems with Jill Teichmann. I don't think anyone was expecting her to do so. She is the favourite, but she's never won at Roland Garros. Christina, can Aryna Sabalenka win this year?
I think she's got an amazing shot. I think she has just looked so confident out there on the clay, which is not something that you always see from her. And I mean, she just gives you no time. Like
Yeah.
it is just, I've played her before, and it's like sometimes you just don't even see the ball. Like she's not giving you any chance. And so I think her shot tolerance has gone up on the clay. So I think she's playing a lot smarter on it. So yeah, I
Ah.
mean, I don't think anyone would be shocked if she won it.
And Emily, would you, if you had to pick somebody on the WTA side, so who would you go for?
I think Coco's another contender. She's in great form at the moment, but it's also nice to see that there's like some rivalries like developing, and
Yes.
that's something that we haven't seen on the women's side, for recent years. I know there's always been talk of that every Grand Slam is a different winner, but it's nice now that there is Iga, there is Coco, there is Aryna Sabalenka. There's a few rivalries forming now, and it's nice to sort of not be able to know who's going to win out of the three of them.
Yeah, it's really difficult to know, isn't it? Of course, Coco is a finalist here, has got to the final of Madrid and Rome. She forgot her rackets on court yesterday. I don't know if you saw that. We had quite a good giggle because we read out the quote. She thought the racket bag apparently was heavy, like rackets were in it. And she said they didn't put them in, meaning her coach, Jean-Christophe Farrell. I don't know if that has ever happened to you, Emily.
I honestly don't know how she did that. I mean, that's the first thing I'm checking before I go on court is I have my rackets.
I agree. I will say with certainty that has never happened to me, and I think it's so funny, and I just think like she said the other bag was filled with a lot of drinks, so it
Yeah.
made it appear heavy. So, but still, I feel like because then they brought out like 7 rackets, so I'm like, it's not like 3 or 4, which could, I mean, like 7 rackets would weigh. So I just think that's hysterical,
And you know
especially
when,
because she said something to Francis when that happened to him. So it's kind of
yes,
funny. Yeah.
that's right, because it happened to Francis Tiafoe. You know, when you have a racket bag, though, if you don't have rackets in it, it sort of bends, doesn't
Yeah.
it? You know, when you put it on your shoulder, it bends strangely. So that's what I don't understand. But she did on X or Twitter write a list of like 4 points. Remember
I
racket.
saw that. That
Yeah.
made me laugh so much. The fact that you have to remember to write it down.
She's got a great character, hasn't she? I think for me, Coco Gauff is the most important person on the WTA tour because of not only her age, her charisma, the fact that she's from the USA, which is the biggest market. I think if she does well, then women's tennis is in great shape. Your thoughts, Christina, first?
I agree, and she's such a nice person. She's so humble. Like I bumped into her last year at US Open. I was commentating, and I know her. We played doubles together a couple times, and she was about to go play her match. So I'm thinking, like, oh, let me just like it'll just be a quick hello. And she like stood there, chatted with me for a little bit, and I was just like, she's just so humble. I feel like she hasn't changed since she first started on the tour till now.
That's so refreshing, isn't it? I'd imagine that's due to her parents. Emily, have you had any interactions with Coco Gauff?
Not personally, but whenever I've seen her around the locker room and things, she's always so bubbly, so positive, so smiley. She never looks, like she's having a bad day or anything, that anything's too pressing for her. And I think that's really refreshing to see.
And there's a lot of pressure on her shoulders, isn't there? Because everywhere she goes, everybody essentially in the world knows her, but she just seems to cope with it beautifully. Other results, Zheng Qinwen, of course, who won the Olympic gold on Philippe Chatrier last year, has beaten Arango of Colombia in straight sets, Amanda Anisimovas. Another one playing well. She's beaten the backhand of Victoria Golubic. Christina Anisimova was one of those who took some time out of the game, went back to study. I saw some of her artwork she posted online. She is incredibly talented. I think it's unfair that you can be that good at sport and that good at art. You should be one or the other, but come on, let's be fair. What did you make of her stepping away and then coming back so well?
I have so much respect for being able to do that. I think just knowing yourself and realizing like I need to take a break, I need to take some time away, and all the pressure that is on her to, from agents and from sponsors, and to be able to be like, no, I need to take care of myself first.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for that. And I think we're seeing that she's coming back refreshed. So it's really nice to see.
Explain that about agents and sponsors, because I think a lot of people watching at home don't quite understand how the contracts work. But players essentially sign 1, 2, 3, maybe longer. I know in a case of one Russian tennis player signed on with an agent for 10 years at the age of 13.
Wow.
He owns her parents' house back home. He owns everything about this player. So you think about that and think, there's a lot of pressure now to perform, to give the money back or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think it's so important to find people that you can trust to have within your team for those reasons that you've mentioned, and just people that will understand, like treat you first as a human, and realize that obviously the better you do, the better they do. But if they can um, still understand like you're a human first, and that was one thing I took from the Alcaraz documentary that I watched on Netflix. Like his team seemed like they care about him first rather than
Yes.
like like all the stuff that comes with him and the results and things. So I think that's so important to have a team that you can really trust.
Emily, how do you go about your team? I know you're playing doubles and you play a lot of singles, but where you are, money is quite tight. How do you go about finding sponsorship, and how do you get from A to B? Are you kind of finding the cheapest flight, the best hotel? How does it all work?
Yeah, obviously I'm trying to kind of save where I can, and but also maximize my performance. I'm not going to flint on a flight or meals or
Right.
hotel at the expense of how I do in the tournament. So it's a balance and juggling act between the two of saving but also investing in my own future. So I think that's important to remember as a player sort of who's trying to break through to the WTA tour a little bit more often. But also, with regards to my team, it's very important for me, like Christina said, to have people that really believe in me and just truly support what I'm doing. I think, all too often it's easy to kind of think or feel pressure that you need to expand your team and have more people surround you. But it's also important that, that you can trust them and that they're giving 100%.
Yeah, so important. Have the right people around you. Other results: Vicky Mboko, the teenager from Canada, she's won again. She beat Evelise of Germany in straight sets. I don't know if you two have been following the story of Vicky Mboko, but she seems the real deal to me. Someone who just plays without fear. Emily, you can perhaps talk about how difficult that is as a teenager to go on tour with all these big names, all these big faces, and go and perform like that, the level she's managing to do.
I actually only just found out her age today. I can't believe how young she still is, and she's doing so well. I think she's definitely destined for top 20, if not 10, if not higher. And she's got Natalie Tauziat, I think, behind her as her coach. So she obviously has huge experience as well. And also, she seems such a lovely person. I was able to chat with her in San Marlo at a WTA 125 event a few weeks ago, and she was just really nice. And she was actually, we were sharing our dislike somewhat for the clay at the time, and I now don't believe anything that she said, because she seems to have literally not lost a match since that conversation. So yeah, she's doing
Those
great.
dislikes are out the window.
Yeah.
Christina, what age were you when you broke through?
I think I broke when I was 18. I broke into top 100.
Which is
But
incredibly young.
her run is just incredible. I first heard her name, the young Canadian, like earlier this year. I think she went on a run at the challenge or ITF levels, and she won I don't know how many events in a row. And then she played Miami, and then that was when I first got to see her play. And you're so right, like both of you saying like she's the real deal, and I've been so impressed with how she's won her first couple matches here at Roland Garros, like all pretty handedly, and
Yeah.
I mean, to have that confidence at that age is incredible.
Yeah, she's just 18 years of age. Don't gasp when I tell you her record this year. She's played 47 matches.
Oh my
She's won
gosh.
42 of them.
Right?
Wow.
It's insane. Insane.
That's
That
at a
is
high
absolutely
level
bonkers.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she come through qualifying. She beat Kraus, Von Dijkman, and Juvan all in straight sets. And in the main draw, she's beaten Lulu Sun 1-6, who had, of course, such a great Wimbledon last year, and has taken out Evelise today 4-4. So 5 matches at Roland Garros on the clay. Emily, her clay court record for the season, played 15-1-12. So I think she's all right on the clay.
Yeah, she's not doing too bad. I think she's okay.
We'll
What
take
did
it.
she
And
say
of
that
course,
she disliked? What did she say that she disliked about it? Because now I'm so
We
curious.
were talking about the grass and how, you know, Canadians are just not used to the clay, and she was really disliking it and couldn't wait to get on the grass. And I was thinking, I think you're okay on the clay too.
That's hysterical.
how much is it now? Vicky Mboko's got third round money at Roland Garros. We don't often speak about money because it's a bit vulgar. How much, Christina, are the players talking about money? How much are they thinking about money when they walk on court? Is it kind of a motivating factor, or are they thinking, I just want to get to the next round?
I mean, it's hard not to look and see what you could possibly make. I mean, sometimes that's a helpful motivator. But I think once you're out on the court competing, you're not thinking about the money that you could win. It's more like what it could do for your ranking, I think, is what crosses your mind.
Okay. You're not thinking about a handbag or, you know, something that you can buy.
No, I was more thinking of like when it was get close to the end, like, oh, like which wouldn't be helpful to think about, but like that's where I would be like, oh, where would my ranking go after this?
Okay. I
Yeah.
think, Emily, though, it's quite motivating. Let's just say you're down in a match and you're having a bad time. If you suddenly think to yourself, and I don't know if this is true, but you suddenly think this is worth, you know, 5,000-10,000 euros or dollars or whatever it is, does that sort of help boost you and give you another extra bit of energy?
I think it definitely does. And I've always been told by a number of coaches in the UK, you know, you're not a charity. You're not you're not supposed to gift the prize money to your opponent. So it's out there for you to go and grab and to take.
Well, I quite like that way of thinking.
Yeah.
That's very un-British,
That's a
actually,
good way
isn't
to
it?
think.
Yeah.
Just talking, Christina, we had Tom Gutteridge on our podcast recently on Diary of a Professional Tennis Coach. He has worked with Cici Bellis, currently working with Iva Jovic, who's actually just lost to Elena Rybakina. They played at the Australian Open where Jovic won just 3 games. This time she's doubled it against Rybakina, a former Wimbledon champion. 6-3, 6-3, Rybakina is through. But Tom mentioned you on the podcast. He said, firstly, what a nice person you are. And I very much agreed. And
Thank you.
I'd love to know how good a coach he is and what you think that Iva Jovic can do.
Yeah, Tom is great. I think he's really organized in how he coaches a player, and he kind of simplifies things, which and makes the game plan really clear. And I had a chance to practice when I was first coming back, end of last year with Eva. I came down here actually to Orlando, and this is where she trains with Tom and the USTA staff. And it was my first time hitting with Eva. But it's funny, Eva. Had come to We have some friends in common, and she had actually come to Indian Wells like when she was like 12 and cheered me on at one of my matches there, and we put 2 and 2 together that like there's a photo of when us after the match. It was just like a random story, but she was like 12 years old at Indian Wells. But it was like a full circle moment to be able to practice with her last off season, and right from the beginning, like I could just see her her intensity, her game, like she really, because you know she's not like the biggest player, but she is so smart, and then her court positioning is really good, and so I think that's where she gains a lot of advantage that way. And yeah, I think she's the real deal.
Yeah, Tom said that she's somebody who likes to really take the ball on, doesn't
Yeah.
worry about missing, and that comes from her father who really worked with her at the beginning. Emily, was there anyone when you were younger that you practiced with, hit with, watched, that has come back to sort of be a friend of yours or be an inspiration or something like that?
I think the one that stands out is Elena Rybakina. I played doubles with her a few times in juniors, and we'd hit together, and you just kind of knew straight away that her ball strike was next level and that she was destined to go very far. And obviously it didn't take long for her to be winning WTAs and now and then Wimbledon. So yeah, that one stands out to me.
Was she always quite shy and quiet in those days?
Yes, still very quiet and shy. But it was funny actually, because we played at doubles together at the French Open in juniors in 2017, and randomly we were both arriving in Paris and then bumped into each other on the very same carriage of the very same metro randomly in Paris the day before our match. So that was a bit weird.
Did you ever think, you said what a great ball striker she was, but had you any idea that she was going to be a major champion? Was she that good as a junior?
You could kind of tell from the ball strike, yeah. And she was always, she's always still very tall and great hitter of the ball. And yeah, you could just tell her rhythm was precise, and she could almost hit it on a coin on the court,
Wow. That's a great story. It's so often interesting, isn't it, when you come through juniors, who is going to make it, who isn't. Sometimes you think, oh, they've got no chance, and they do. And the other side is that you think this person is unbelievable, and they don't. I remember a story when I was in Italy on the British team, and there were 5 Australian guys. Mark Philippoussis was number 5 of them, and he thought he was going to get sent home. And he turned out to be the best one by far of that Australian group. And it does happen, Christina, like that.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's so interesting, yeah, to see like because sometimes even the juniors that win junior slams, that doesn't guarantee success in the pros. And then some that we've seen like a Danielle Collins that went to college first and wasn't really on anyone's radar. And then won NCAAs and then has had the career that she's had. So it's so interesting to see the different paths.
Did you ever think that Danielle Collins would officially retire?
That's an interesting question. I mean, it's hard to think that someone, with the success that she was having, but obviously there were, personal reasons that she was thinking about it. But I think it's cool that she's still playing and kind of picking the tournaments that she wants to play and still goes out and does incredible. So I'm like, I wish I could do that, like not play every week and like kind of just be like, oh, I'm going to play here and there and still have the success that she has.
She does have that game style, doesn't she? Where it's sort of all or nothing, and you can tell when it's all. Michael Joyce said yesterday that he never thought she was going to retire. He thought she was absolutely going to play on. And let's talk about quickly retiring, Christina, because you have retired, but that is no longer. You decided to come back. So tell us the details, please.
So it's funny, when I retired in, I believe it was August of 2022, I definitely thought I was done. Like I was just so ready to try new things. I, felt like I had, given everything I had and I was just ready to have, my life look different. And I was studying and I mean, I was hitting from time to time. I was playing in some, exhibitions and things like that and enjoying hitting. So that was kind of refreshing because I wasn't sure, I guess when you stop, you're not sure like how much you'll want tennis to still be a part of your life. And I realized that through playing different events and things that I still wanted it to be a big part. But I really wasn't thinking about coming back until like last year. I was getting towards graduating from school, and I was starting to have these thoughts of like, like I kind of miss competing. C- like would I want to start training or something and see how I feel. But then I was like, oh, Christina, like this must just be because you're ending one thing now, and then like let's just sit with it. So I kind of sat with it all summer, had a great summer, enjoyed myself. Did some commentating with you, Candy, at the US Open. But the feeling didn't go away. That I kind of had this feeling of like I wanted to kind of feel those feelings again of competing. And so it's been a process to feel like myself out there playing, and just kind of, there's definitely been some ups and downs, but I am enjoying being back out there.
Given that you've done so well, world number 24 in singles, world number 35 in doubles, is it your hope to get back there? Are you just happy competing? Do you want to get into the top 100? What is kind of the benchmark?
No, I think I have high goals for myself, but at the same time, it's like enjoying being back is one of them that's at the top, because I think I'd kind of towards the end of when I first stopped, kind of lost that joy of competing, and like
Yes.
every day was feeling the same. And so that's being able to enjoy competing again is a huge goal for myself. And obviously I'm working really hard and want to get the most out of myself, but I've always told myself like if I'm not enjoying this, like life was pretty, fun when I wasn't competing. So like I want to make sure that um as I'm doing this, like I'm enjoying it.
Emily, do you enjoy it? There's a lot of travel. There's a lot of living out of a suitcase. What do you enjoy so much, and what could you do without?
I could definitely do without all the travel. I think that's definitely the hardest part of it for me. It's just very mentally exhausting, and it can take its toll physically over time. But, on the flip side of that, you get to see places that you would never imagine you'd see in any other life. And yes, you don't get to go out and do sightseeing per se, but you get to see the most random towns and cities in the most random places that you could ever think of, and you meet people that you wouldn't dream of meeting in another world. So it's a really special and unique tour in that sense.
I didn't do nearly as much as you two, but my travels just brought me so many great memories, and the stuff that happened on them, and the things that I've done and seen. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I could tell you about Tashkent and Cairo and just the most bonkers places that, like you said, I would never have gone to if I hadn't played a little bit on the tour. Just looking at some other results, Jasmine Paolini has beaten Ayla Tomjanovic. Good day for Ukraine. Alina Svitolina and Stara Dubstova have both won. Bernarda Pera creating the shock of the day, ladies. She has ousted Donna Vekic, who, of course, had such a wonderful 2024. Nick Horvat, who coached Donna Vekic, is no longer working with her because his wife was due to have a baby and he decided to be home. So she's now with Sasha Bajin. And it's hard, Christina, when you change coaches with whom you've had so much success to change to another. It's different information. It's a different chemistry, isn't it? How does that generally work? And what do you think works best when you change coaches?
I think the good thing for Donna was that I think Sasha has been a little bit around part of her team for
Yes.
A period now, so it's not like a sudden change like the week of a slam having a new coach. But when I saw that matchup, I did think that it was going to be a really tough battle, and so that didn't surprise me. I've practiced with Bernarda. I've seen the level that she can produce, and she's one of those players that, like, when she gets hot, like, she can really take the racket out of your hands. And so I think clay would be Donna's least favorite surface, whereas I think Bernarda, she really her game translates well to it and gives her a little bit more time on the forehand and things. So I expected that battle. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Bernarda Pera, of course, winner of 2 titles on clay back to back, didn't she, in 2022? Hits that big flat ball. Emily, is there anybody, a game style that you don't like to play against when you walk on your court and you're thinking, this person hits the ball hard, or do you not like it when they sort of mess you around?
I'd just say a clay quarter on clay.
Probably
not the best matchup for me.
Anyone who likes clay is out. All right, we've got that. And let's welcome to the men's side now. The big upset of day 4, Casper Ruud, who our resident expert Vuk Brajovic said could win the title, has just lost. He was injured against Nuno Borges and went down. I think he lost won one game in the last 2 sets. And I wondered, ladies, about injuries, because he obviously picked that injury up maybe in the second set. And it's not hard. It was hard to know. But is it the best thing to continue? And I think, knowing Casper Ruud a little bit as I do, I've met his entire family, his fiance. He just seems like a really good guy, and perhaps the guy that wouldn't pull out of a match if he was injured. He'd let his opponent have the victory. And I just wondered, Christina, what the best thing to do is. Obviously, it depends on what kind of injury. But if you picked up a strain, would you continue a match or would you just call it?
I mean, I think it's tough because at a slam, I feel like you will push your body through things that you might normally not push it through at another event, because, especially he was probably thinking he came from winning Madrid. Like, this was, he was primed. And so you keep pushing yourself to see if somehow things can turn around. And then at a certain point, I feel like if there's like 1 or 2 games left, I think that's not a great look to then retire at that point. So I think he maybe made the right call there.
It's a weird result, though, isn't it? Because it's a bit like the Emma Navarro winning one just against her opponents. For Casper Ruud to go down to a player like Nuno Borges, who is a very good player, of course, and definitely on clay. But the score to Ruud, then 6-4, 6-1, 6-love to Nuno Borges. Emily, have you ever experienced a result sort of like that when it was all going quite smoothly and then things just unraveled?
Yeah, definitely. I think sometimes things just happen quite quickly, and I think especially on clay that can happen. But like you said, for Casper, I think it's a little bit of a surprise result. So perhaps it is down to the injury that he's picked up. But I sort of feel that I would always struggle to pull out of a match midway through, and probably and sillily to the extent of maybe making it worse. But that's just me. I always just find it difficult to do that.
I understand. Tommy Paul has come back down from, he was 2 sets down to Marton Fucsovics, managed to win in 5. Christina, the men's majors are tricky because it's best of 5. And the big names don't really, I suspect, want to go long distances in the opening stages if they're going to get to the second week, because that's going to take a lot out of Tommy Paul, even though he won it.
True, but he is one of the fittest players for sure. So I think that it might not affect him as much as it affects a different type of player. But that was an exciting comeback. We had it on at USTA in the training room and in the gym, and all the players were kind of the younger players were all around watching it, and the staff. And so that was such a big fight from him, and I think like it was what a way to close it out too.
Amazing. Brad Stein, of course, coaches Tommy Paul and Ethan Quinn, and Ethan Quinn is also winning. So he's doing really well. Tommy Paul, I interviewed him in Acapulco earlier this year, and his coach actually told me about his fishing, his love for fish. And so I asked Tommy about this, and then we spoke about his Queen's victory, which was at the time his biggest victory of his career at 500 level. And I said, about this particular fish, would you take the fish or would you take the Queen's title? And he was like, I'll take the fish. I couldn't believe it. This was a special fish, quite clearly. He seems like a very, very cool individual, Christina. How well do you know Tommy Paul?
He is, yeah. We trained together like back when USTA was in Boca quite a few years. And yeah, he's really simple. He's a really nice guy. So I'm really happy to see him doing so well.
And Emily, on the British men's side, Jack Draper, of course, is doing really well. You and I play for the county of Surrey. Jack Draper is a Surrey boy as well. So we're all pretty much family, aren't we? Are you surprised by how well he's doing?
Not at all. I think it's just been a matter of time before he's been where he is today. He's such a nice person on and off the court, and a phenomenal athlete with immense talent. And I'm just so proud of him. He's such a nice person, and saw him yesterday, and he gave me a big hug after his match, even though he had much more important things to be doing. So just really happy for him and how well he's doing.
He was destined, wasn't he, to be a top 10 player? I actually thought it might take a little bit longer than it has. Are you surprised by how quickly he's made a move?
I am a little bit. He seems to have just completely flown in the last sort of year and even 6 months. It's just incredible to see that he's top 5, top 4.
Incredible. Even. Yeah, really, really incredible. I totally agree with you. In men's results, another upset, Stefanos Tsitsipas has lost to a player ranked 167 in the world from Italy. But these, Christina, results do happen, don't they? It took 3 hours and 9 minutes. Stefanos Tsitsipas, once sort of thought as a major contender, is now not really getting to the latter stages of majors. I don't know what you think about his story. Any thoughts on Stefanos?
I just remember how close he was to winning Roland Garros, right? How many years ago?
Yeah.
He was up against
3 years
Novak.
Ago?
He was up big against Novak, I feel, in that final.
Yep.
And then that must be mentally so hard to just get over, even, it's to be that close to achieving, the ultimate thing in tennis. And so mentally it's got to be tough to recover from that, even if a lot of time has come by. The losses tend to stick with you a lot more than the wins.
Yeah, Tsitsipas 18 and 11 this year, 7-5 on the clay. And you're right, I believe he was a couple of sets up, wasn't he, on Novak? Novak left the court and came back a renewed man and just took it away from Tsitsipas. But I think we were expecting, Emily, him to win maybe one major. I mean, he's such an exciting player, isn't he? The one-handed backhand alive and well with Stefanos. I wondered if he was in love too much. I thought with Paulo Bados, they're very loved up, aren't they? If he's kind of taken his eyes slightly off the ball.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, certainly he's only a year or two older than me. So I remember, being around him in juniors, and certainly as soon as he left juniors, he started to do amazing straight away. And so I think we all sort of expected him to be a slam contender for sure. And I think, yeah, it's tough to sort of live up to that pressure in a way. So maybe that's taking its toll in a backward way.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's still going to play doubles with his brother. And I saw Petros is actually playing a 25K somewhere. He's playing singles. I guess they're playing doubles as well. A bit of a family affair. Christina, you have a sister, don't you, who also plays tennis? Is she older than you?
Lauren's 2 years older than me. She played college tennis. Yep.
Okay. Well, I always find this interesting because it seems like in siblings anyway, generally it's the younger ones that do better. And there are exceptions to the rule in that Stefanos Tsitsipas and also Novak. But if you think about it, Andy Roddick was the third of brothers. Andy Murray is the second. There's so many more stories like that. Do you agree, or do you don't think that's relevant?
I do think it's relevant. I think in my case, like I was very lucky because Lauren growing up was, older, better than me. And so I always had, first of all, like someone to practice with, but someone that was better than me. And so we kind of learned through her too. Like it was a bit of trial and error with her, like kind of who are the best coaches in the area? Like what are the, tournaments to play and things like that. And so then I benefited from learning from her. And then, so I do think on me, it had a big impact.
I think that's so relevant, isn't it? And I think the mistakes that families make, particularly if they're not in the tennis world, they can be avoided with the second child, but not with the first.
That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you learn with the first and then make changes for the second and third.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And Judy Murray talks about that a lot, doesn't she? That she kind of brought up Jamie in one way and then decided that Andy needed to go on a different path. And it obviously worked out very well. Other results, Carlos Alcaraz has beaten Fabian Marozsan in 4 sets. It was looking a little tenuous at the beginning. We know that Fabian Marozsan has beaten Carlos Alcaraz on the clay. I think it was a few years ago in Rome. Your thoughts on Carlos winning another Roland Garros? Emily, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think it's a great chance that he's going to win. He's, like Yannick Sinner, you just kind of assume that they're going to get to the end now. It's funny because you can't assume that in tennis, but yeah, we do, and he probably will.
And Christina, your thoughts on Carlos, the smiling assassin?
He's so much fun to watch. Like I was watching this morning and it's like I'm smiling watching the points because he's, having a good time. But like the shots that he comes up with are just absolutely incredible. The athleticism. I've seen him play in person now a few years at the US Open. And he's like to watch him play in person is just it leaves you in awe. Like it's one thing on the TV, but to like physically see him in action, like you can't believe some of the shots that he hits.
He's one of the players, and I'm on site a lot watching live tennis. He's one of the players that I would definitely pay to watch.
Yeah.
Because he's just so exciting, and that beam, and he's just as nice as he seems. He's so generous and smiley, and you've got to respect that, haven't you? That you could be so intense and do all the work that they're doing and then be a really nice person, like you've said about Coco Gauff. Can you tell everybody listening and watching how much work these people are doing? Because when I go to tournaments, we're there pretty early on site. Sometimes we capture the player's arrival, which is multiple hours before they're playing a match. They then go to the gym. They're doing all their workout and getting ready. Then they'll go to the tennis courts. Then they'll eat lunch. Then they'll go back to the gym. And then after the match, they're back to the gym. They're in the physio. I mean, it's mind-blowing how many hours, Christina, these people are putting in.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they have, big teams and everyone has a specific role. And the way that players take care of their bodies now is just incredible. And that's even changed from when I first started on tour. And like, because you have to, like, the level is so high. And like, especially the men playing 3 out of 5, like, every little bit of recovery counts so much. And like the warm up too, making sure you're ready to go. And so it's incredible.
Emily, have you changed your warm-up routine, your post-match routine in any way over the years?
Definitely. And I think as I'm becoming more involved in the higher levels of the game, I'm learning as well from watching others. And I'm able to take bits and bobs from what I'm watching in the gym and in the recovery room and etc. So yeah, I'm grateful for it too, because every day is a school day for me.
It's so amazing, isn't it? Just to stand there. I love watching practice. I love watching the drills that these people are doing. Generally, it's pretty standard. There's nothing too crazy, but it's just the hours and the things they're able to do. For example, Ben Shelton, who got a walkover today in his match. I saw him in the gym in Acapulco. He's literally hanging upside down for minutes. And I was asking Brian, his coach and dad, who's a good friend of mine, what is he doing? And he said, I don't know, but they do it every day. Christina, do you hang upside down in the gym?
I most certainly do not, but you know what? That might be the next level for me.
Emily, any hanging upside down or any crazy things you do in the gym? Is your leg kind of going up like Novak's?
No, but maybe I need to. Maybe that will get me to Ben's level.
Next
right.
time we see each other, Emily, we'll both be doing
We'll
it
try
together,
and do it
hanging upside down.
Yeah, I need to see this. I definitely want to see this.
We'll send you a
photo. We'll put it on the podcast. I think it will go viral if we put it on social media for sure. Just make sure you wear clothes, okay? That's all I'm asking. Last result on the men's side, Lorenzo Massetti, who's a dark horse of mine, coached by Simona Tartarini, who's a very nice chap. Massetti is, enjoying the birth of, I think baby number 2 is coming, and he is playing very well. He's beaten Daniel Galan in 3 sets. Your thoughts, Christina, on Lorenzo Massetti and that beautiful one-handed backhand?
He's another one that's so much fun to watch. And there's few one-handed backhands left on the tour. So it's such a beautiful shot to see. And I just love the story that he's worked with his coach for so many years. And they have this unbelievable relationship. And I really admire that because, it's hard to maintain the same coach for so many years. And so I think that it's so special that's the case.
Emily, how much do you see that players with one coach their entire lives?
Yeah, it's not so often that you see that now. So it is nice when you see that, because you just know that they have such a good relationship and trust, and the bond between them is really special.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Tartarini says that he treats Lorenzo a little bit like a son. Let's have a look at tomorrow's matchups. We'll go to the big ones. So we've got Jakub Mensik, the youngster from Czechia, in action. Alex de Minaur is facing Alexander Bublik. That could be exciting. Arthur Fils has got to be the big hope, really, for France. He's taking on Jaume Munar. We've got Jerzy Lehecka taking on Davidovich Fokina. And then, ladies, Alexander Zverev. He's taking on Jesper de Jong of the Netherlands. Zverev, Christina, has said that his highs are high, but his lows perhaps are lower than his main rivals. And I thought that was really interesting for him to say that, because I think everyone kind of expects this sort of baseline that the players have. And Zverev's being very honest and saying, well, my baseline's lower than Sinner's and Alcaraz's. How relevant is that?
I think it just kind of shows his sort of belief level at the moment is struggling. Probably does he feel like he can beat the top guys at the top events, and as of recent he hasn't been. So I think it's he was a player that Tsitsipas, we maybe thought he would have already won a slam by now, and the fact that he's gotten close but hasn't, it's got to be weighing on him.
Yeah, I agree with that. We've got Rublev versus Walton. Sinner, Emily, is playing Richard Gasquet. It's probably going to be the last match of Gasquet. He won his first round. He's unlikely to beat Yannick Sinner. When you watch Yannick play, what do you think most of all? What strikes you about his game?
Just how smooth and calm it is, and everything looks so effortless. I mean, the way he moves, gets behind every ball, it's incredible to watch. And he's so exciting to watch too. I love watching him.
I do too. And those muscles, Christina, in his legs, he's very, very thin, isn't he? Sinewy, but he's rock solid in terms of work done in the gym.
Yeah, the power that he possesses from outside the court and to get on offense from these positions that you wouldn't think he'd be able to. He's so strong. Yeah.
That open stance backhand.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? How well he hits that. Incredible. He looks very like my son, which is quite weird as well when I see him. Oh, my son looks like him. They're a similar height, similar body shape, and definitely.
I hope he plays like him.
Yeah.
Well, if he was, Christina, I probably wouldn't be here. But if only. My son's going to be an engineer, not a tennis player. unfortunately. Fabio Caboli, I think he is very exciting. The recent Hamburg champion, he's going to face Mattia Arnaldi, so that's going to be an all-Italian matchup. We've got Gabriel Diallo, the tall Canadian. He's doing well against, and he'll play Talon Griekspoor. João Fonseca, ladies, is up against Paul Huguebert. Fonseca, tell me about him. He is an 18-year-old wonder kid, Emily.
He is, and I believe he's in the little section next to Jack if they both win their next matches. So I really hope that can come about, because I know they played each other in Miami, and I would love another match to watch, because I think that would be really exciting. But he's doing phenomenally well, having a great year, and the sky's the limit for him, I think.
Christina, we see the Brazilian fans. It's like a football match when João plays, and he loves it. Some players seem to thrive under that pressure. Some hate it. How were you?
I mean, I didn't have the composure that he has at that age. Like, that's like, besides his game being unreal at that age, I think he looks so calm, and he's able to handle the pressure of all of these Brazilian fans. Like, honestly, no matter where he's playing around the world, they are showing up. And even yesterday I was watching on TV, and they were saying like there were thousands of fans like that were trying to get into his court, and the commentators were saying like, why was he scheduled on this smaller court? Because it was a shame, like a lot of the fans couldn't get in to see, but like he doesn't let that pressure get to him, or it's incredible.
Yeah, he is just amazing. I met him for the first time, and I was so excited that the Next Gen in Jeddah last year, which he won $500,000 US. He couldn't believe it when I said that out loud. I met his parents. His mum and dad are so nice. He's the youngest of 3 boys. No tennis in the family at all. I think the second brother loves all board sports, so skateboarding, wakeboarding, all those things. The older brother's a runner. And they just said that João was the one. He was always pushing to play, practice, asking to go here and there for tennis, just loves it. But he's so well-rounded. I think he is just a very exciting young player. And hopefully the sky is the limit for him. And as Emily said, we might see Fonseca versus Draper. That would be very, very fun indeed. Gael Monfils came back from 2 sets to love yesterday. He's going to take on Jack Draper next. That match will be tomorrow. Emily, any thoughts on Gael Monfils, a 38-year-old?
I can't wait to watch that match. He is such entertainment, and to watch him play Jack will just be incredible. And I'm looking forward to some amazing rallies and amazing shots, and shots that you wouldn't think possible, but they are with Gael Monfils.
Everyone, Christina, when they're asked who would you like to be stuck in a lift with, an elevator, or who would you like to be on a road trip with, or who's the funnest person on the tour, everyone says Gael Monfils. I don't know if you've had any interactions with him.
He's just so friendly. Like, you just walk by him, and he is just such a friendly guy. And like, I was having an absolute blast watching his match and watching him come back yesterday, and the crowd going nuts. And like, yeah, he's 38, but like he's moving so well. And it's just, I mean, you can tell like he is relishing every moment at this stage of his career, and just appreciating the moments with the crowd.
He's so exciting. We're really going to miss him when he does hang it up. It looks like he's got at least 10 more years in him. So don't worry, everybody. On the women's side, let's have a look at the matches. Marketa Vondrousova is the non-seeded player against Magda Freyk. Mira Andreeva, ladies, will face Aisling Kruger. I'm really interested in that one. I actually picked Mira Andreeva to win the title at the beginning. Aisling Kruger, though, coached by Michael Joyce, has got a massive game. Christina, someone you probably have known about for quite some time.
I played against Aisling in Indian Wells qualies in 2022, and I was at the beginning of the match. She wasn't playing her best, and then all of a sudden something changed, and I was like, oh my god, like what has happened? Why is she why can't I see the ball anymore? Why am I struggling? Like, I was like, what is going on? So and then I practiced with her a few more times, because I was working with the coach in Dallas, and she lives there, and I could just, with each time that we practiced, I just kept seeing like her potential was just going up and up.
Emily, your thoughts on Aisling Kruger against Mira Andreeva? Andreeva's now 18, by the way. She is officially 18.
No, really looking forward to that matchup. I really like watching Andreeva play, and I think that'll be a great matchup because they're both amazing ball strikers, and both so young with huge talent and prospects ahead of them. So it'll be interesting to see. And I'm not sure if they've played each other before, but yeah, looking forward to it.
They have actually. Ashlyn Kruger leads the head-to-head 1-0. It was at last year's US Open. Kruger winning that one 1-4, but of course hard courts, and a lot has changed since then. So we'll see if Andreeva can level that one up. A lot of US players, Christina, in action. Jessie Pegula's going to take on Anne Lee. We've got Hailey Baptiste up against Now Hibino. Baptiste, I have to say, Christina, I love watching her play. I just love her style. I talked to her father, Kazim, a lot. I'm hoping he's going to come on the podcast soon. But she has been a revelation this year.
I love Haley. She is such a nice person, and we used to train with the same coach a couple years ago, so I really got to know her well, and I'm so happy for her. I feel like she's matured so much in the last couple of years, and she's hit such a heavy ball. Like it, I couldn't be happier that she's having so much success right now.
Emily, do you know Hailey?
I know Hailey pretty well. Yeah, we were in juniors together, so played her a couple of times, and she's always saying hello and very friendly, and also played her in the semifinals of a 125 at the end of last year. And she's just such a tough opponent to play because she's so talented, and so much so that you actually don't really know what's going to come, because she can basically hit any type of shot that she wants from out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's very exciting to see her play Billie Jean King Cup. She represented the USA a little bit earlier this year and won her matches. Coco Gauff will also be in action against Valentova. That's her first meeting. Gauff, of course, ranked number 2. Barbora Krejcikova continues her comeback against Kudermetova. Actually is down in the head-to-head 3-2 in that one. Paula Badosa is in action against Gabby Rusa. Madison Keys, lady, against Katie Bolter. So we've got USA versus Britain. How do we see that one going, Christina?
I'm going to pick Maddie in this one. I think just the experience of Maddie at this stage, and I just see I see Maddie's experience pulling her through this one.
And Katie Bolter, Emily, has just won her very first Roland Garros match. I don't think she's expecting a huge amount of herself on the clay courts. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, I would say that's fair, but she's also coming off the back of a win in Paris at the 125. Yes. So her confidence can only be building, and, you know, with each match that she plays, and she's winning a lot too. So I think she could be a danger tomorrow.
And last match, we'll focus on Sofia Kenin against Azarenka. Sofia Kenin, Christina's sort of been up and down since winning the Australian Open. A lot of personal issues, a lot of things going off the court. When she's on, though, as Rick Macy said, she is the scariest little creature because she takes the ball early. She's started to get some real form again, and it's exciting to see.
I agree. It is really exciting to see her finding form again. And I think she's so difficult to play because it's hard to anticipate where her shots are going. And she kind of disguises them well, and can kind of like lull you a bit, and then all of a sudden take one early and just kind of shock you. So it's hard to get into a rhythm against her.
Emily, any thoughts on Kenin versus Azarenka?
That's a tough second round. That's my thought for that. I feel like that should be later on in the tournament, like a quarterfinal or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see how that one pans out.
Azarenka is coming off a Love and Love first round victory. Have you ever won Love and Love? Have you ever lost Love and Love, Christina?
Well, funny you mention it. At this point, I lost Love and Love to Azarenka. It was like,
I'm sorry to bring that up.
It was a Love and Love where it was like, it didn't feel like a Love and Love. Like, games were close. This was in Doha. She had just won Oz Open that year, so she was very much in form. But funny you brought that up at that moment of talking about Azarenka.
I'm so sorry. Bad memories. Emily, a Love and Love victory or a Love and Love defeat is your most recent memory?
I actually won a Love and Love doubles match in a WTA in Rabat last week, bizarrely, which doesn't happen too often in doubles, might I say. Yeah.
Actually, I think I WhatsApped you after that because I think I remember seeing that. And I was like, what on earth has just happened?
Yes, so you did. Yeah. I couldn't really believe it myself. But no, sometimes you just play like a really lights out match, and that was one of them.
Super. All right, ladies, let's start to wrap this up. I've had your time, and you've been very kind on Roland Garros Live on Diary of a Professional Tennis Coach for over an hour. Let's talk about who you think will win. So, Emily, on the men's and women's singles, let's start there. If you had to put everything you own on who's going to win, who would you pick?
I'm going to go for Sabalenka with the ladies and Alcaraz for the men's.
Those are my picks.
Christina, the same?
I'm playing it safe, and Alcaraz for sure, and then I was going to say Sabalenka too.
All right, and then Emily, since you've been playing doubles, who would you pick to win the doubles in the women's?
I just feel like it's going to be Taylor Townsend and Katerina Siniakova. They seem to clean up in every Grand Slam that comes around, so I'm going to back them again this time.
I would love that, because I actually do. I'm doing a special podcast with John Williams, who coaches Taylor Townsend, called Diary of a Professional Tennis Coach, 7-point tiebreaker. It's essentially the blueprint to make tennis players at any stage. So youngsters coming up. So we're working on that together, and he's become a really good friend of mine. So I would be thrilled if Taylor Townsend wins a third major with Katerina Siniakova. Ladies, you've been absolutely wonderful. Christina McHale, thank you so much for joining the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
And good luck in your comeback. I hope I will
you.
see you for real at the US Open.
I'll be there.
Brilliant. And Emily Appleton, congratulations on a Roland Garros debut. I believe I will see you at Wimbledon, where you won a round, of course, with Lily Miyazaki, a good mutual friend of ours last year. Are you teaming up with Lily again in Wimbledon 2025?
I'm not, no, but always love playing with Lily. It's so special. We have so many bonds and histories in the past. So yeah, I'll remember that match for the rest of my life.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, ladies, for joining us on the podcast. You've been watching Roland Garros Live. My dog is telling me it's time to go. He does this after about an hour and 5 minutes. You can hear him very loudly. It is a boy. He's just got a very girly bark. Thank you to both of you. I hope you've enjoyed watching and listening to Roland Garros Live, and we will do it all again very soon. Thank you for watching Diary of a Professional Tennis Coach. Please like, subscribe and share, and we'll be back soon with another great episode.